for you, like skateboarding, how long have you been pro now?
21 years. In September, it was 21 years.
Okay, so 21 years. You go back to like when we were kids, first start, City Stars, and then with you, Girl, to now. Have you been locked in this whole time? Because you've had now one of the most successful careers you can possibly have as a pro skateboarder. Like, are there moments you're like, dude, I'm done?
For sure. For the most part, for the majority of it, it was full lock-in mode. I would say the last,
21 years is crazy, dude.
I would say the last,
like, even thinking about like when I left 8 years ago and what I see you doing now, you seem better now than you were 8 years ago, and you were insane 8 years ago.
I think so. I was
like, that's not normal.
I didn't answer that question.
Like, most people peak out at like 27. They no longer get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're with 38 now?
39, dude.
39, bro. That's crazy.
But no, to answer your question, I think I've been locked in most of the time, but then I think around 30, I had a weird, mental, not like a mental health issue, but like more of like I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that I was 30. Like, what? Where'd all that time go? What the hell happened? How am I here right now? How is this already a part of my, like, and it kind of like put me into a little bit of almost like a sadness of like, wow, 30, that means like this whole skate thing, everything, all that time I put into all those years dedicated, like, it's all downhill from here. Like, that's the way I was kind of thinking at that time.
Right.
And then 33 is when I hurt my knee. And then I was like early on mentally struggling with that while I'm recovering. But then at some point it clicked in like, no, this is the new fire. This is the new thing to be excited about. This is the new challenge. Can I heal? Can I get better? Especially at this age. So that was exciting to me. But then once I got, like, during the pandemic, I kind of got lazy there during that time. Wasn't in a relationship after a while. Like, I had been in a long-ass relationship, wasn't in one. So then I was kind of like, out more, dating around, skating. So I was distracted and kind of not on my focus. And then I would say this last, really, 6 months, I really, like, started waking up and like, bro, now or never, like, get it together or it's not gonna happen. So right now I feel very in a good place. I feel very passionate about skating, very driven, very excited.
You look
having
locked in
fun
right now.
I'm locked
like,
in.
Looking at you on social, you look like you're
locked in. I'm in the streets. I'm getting clips. Me and Atiba started shooting an interview for Thrasher. Like, I'm in it. I'm in serious mode right now.
So let me ask you this. Okay, the question you asked, we were talking about, like, Kelly, Brady, like Kobe, all these guys. You could argue that all of them kind of had a choice on when they wanted to stop, right? Like, Kobe had a 60 ball his last game, right? Just ridiculous. Kobe's winning titles in his 50s. No, sorry, Kelly. I kind of feel like you're in that same exact vein. Like, you have the choice of how long you want to do this because you're still better than almost everyone, right?
No, not even close.
You don't think so?
Bro, I skate with these dudes every day. I'm dragging ass behind everyone.
Come on.
I'm serious. Everyone I'm with, like, not even on some, like, just being very honest with myself, very objective. If that's the right word I'm looking for? Very objective about the situation. Like, no, everybody is so much better than me now. But what I've recently done, which is a cool little mind trick I've played, is like, remember when you're a little kid and you're starting to skate and you're skating with the older guys who are so much better than you, you're so inspired, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get just as good as these guys. I can't wait to get on their level. And it made you want to practice every day so you could see if you can catch up to the older guys. That's what I'm doing now. When I look at the younger guys who are so much better than me, I make them the older guys in my head and I make myself the kid again mentally, like, oh my God, I can't wait to be as good as them one day. Okay, now I want to go out and practice. Now I can't wait to, like, impress them and have them notice that I got better. Like, like, I just flipped that back around and it's been like a fun game. So now it's not like discouraging, like, the old guy and the kids are so much better. Now it's like, oh man, I wonder if I can impress these dudes today. Like, right. You know what I mean? Like, right. Yeah. So
okay, so then let's maybe take it to like the product or brand side.
Uh-huh.
You sell an insane amount of product, right? I know the numbers. I talk to the guys at Primitive. You sell an insane
Well,
amount of product.
Not this year. I mean, this past year
I'm gonna
has
go.
been
I'm
horrible.
I'm gonna go there, but that's the
But
state
we've done
of the,
very well leading up.
That's the state of the industry. But the reality is, your name sells. People still love you. You're relevant. You move.
I'm
product,
very
right?
fortunate that for whatever reason, yes, people have I've been marketable.
Right. Let's say that carries out. Let's say you got another decade of moving units, right? Which is very valuable for a brand. Like, do you think about that? Like, okay, if I have that lifespan here, what do I want to do with it? Do I want to do a Black Album? Do I want to just like, be here, be there? Like, well, you put
Yeah,
much
yeah,
thought in that?
yeah. Well, the hard part about skating is like you really don't know, especially after getting that injury. You like, without trying to sound somber or anything, like you really don't know when it's gonna be your last time to skate. Like sometimes I'll have a skate session, and be like, not to be morbid, but like, what if this was the last time I ever skated? Let me just skate. Let me like. Then it makes me like, oh wow, like not even like you could pass away at any given moment, any one of us. But I'm just talking about like, what if I just get injured so gnarly or get in a car accident or something and I just cannot skate ever again? What if this is the last time? So I get a little. I use that to like keep me inspired, but I say that to say you don't know. I can't plan like, yeah, I'm gonna do my last big video in 5 years. You know what I mean? So right now, what I'm working on, I really want this video to be like, not just like, damn, he's still good for an old dude. Like, I just want them to be like, yo, this dude's fucking good. So maybe this next project I'm working on will be my last one. Maybe not. I don't know. It's hard. I can't call it because I just don't know how long the good Lord will allow me to do this. So I got to just look at this project as potentially the last.
You know what's so funny is you're saying that. Do you remember the last time we skated Beebles Park before I had surgery on my hip? You remember that night? So I hurt my hip, and it was hurt for like a year. I knew I had a surgery. I had surgery scheduled, and we went skating that night at Beebles Park, and then I was gonna have surgery the next morning. And dude, I still had sponsors at this time. Like, the surgery was like supposed to be pretty minor. I was like, oh yeah, this is just surgery. I'm out 3 months and I'm back, right? And as I was skating, I had that thought. I was like, dude, what if this is the last time? Like, what if it ends after this? And then I just kind of like washed it out of my mind. But what's funny is that night was one of those like nights where I felt amazing. Like, everything felt comfy. I was landing everything. I was having fun. And then I have surgery. And then it was a month after where all the sponsors basically said goodbye. And then that ended up being like really the last session of my pro career.
Yeah, man.
You know?
It's like,
You don't know.
Depending
You can't-
how you take it, it can be like a morbid thought, but it can also be a very beautiful thought. And I think whenever I like catch myself and have those thoughts, it makes me be very present. Because it's hard to not be present when you have it on your mind. Like, wow, if this was the last skate session I ever had, how would I want to do? What would I want to do? What kind of skating do I want to do today? It makes you be very present and in the moment. And when you're present in the moment, you tend to get into flow state or the zone, and then you have a great, phenomenal session when you're like that. So it's good.
What's up with the industry? What's the state of the industry?
It sucks, man. Industry sucks right now. Retail is really hard. I think a lot of these big retailers, I'm just speculating, they're afraid to commit dollars. Like, we've been getting good feedback that like when our orders get into these stores, our sell-throughs are great, but then the reorders aren't coming. Right. So I feel like they're still like unsure if things are getting better or if the market's opening up or what. So like they're not, oh, this sold really good, let's re-up. They're still like, oh, that sold really good, cool. But like, let's wait a second, allocate our dollar, let's see how we're gonna allocate our dollar. Everybody's very tentative and timid right now. So it's rough. So we're just trying to get creative, trying to, do what we can to boost our e-com.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So if you have, do you know what the breakdown is for how much business you guys do, retail versus DTC or direct to consumer?
Oh, it's like probably 90-10.
90 retail.
Yeah.
Okay. So
80-10, 80-20, 90-10,
okay.
something
So
like that.
you have a year. And probably what I'm expecting is everyone went so nuts once everything opened up that these Zoomies and the kind of the bigger footprints were just buying like crazy, and then all of a sudden it kind of halted, right? So what's the mindset for because you guys have a large business. This isn't like a 4-person team that you can just pivot real quick. You have it's a behemoth.
Yeah, I mean, it's shrank a lot in this last year. We've really buckled down. We're tightening up.
So cut the fat,
Yeah,
looked
man.
into creating
Yeah.
efficient. Yeah.
That's never an easy process.
No, dude, and I'm grateful. I'm not the one in their day-to-day doing this, but you got to make tough decisions in business. It is what it is. So we've tightened up on that, but really it's just like we're just trying to be creative. We're trying to figure out ways how to keep a customer engaged, how to bring attention to the site. Obviously, it starts with making really good product, what you feel is great product, really good content with the team. We're about to drop our AM video, and really, hopefully, that'll really bring a lot of attention to the brand and to these guys. And we're just trying to just be creative with our marketing and not worry about like, especially, as in skateboarding, not worry about like, oh, should we try this? Nah, it's not a good look. Should we try? Fuck that. No, that slows business way down. I don't care. We're going to try this. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, people don't like it, all right, whatever, scrap it, move on to the next. Don't stop for 1 second worrying about it, who says what or what meme comes up or what message board is talking. I don't give a shit, all right? I got people to feed. I got a business to
This
run.
is where you came up with this scared money, don't make money.
That's right. I got fucking bills to pay, and I'm not talking just personal bills. I got, employees' bills to pay. They have family. They have their bills to pay. We have team riders to pay. You know what I mean? I don't got time to worry about that shit.
Okay. So
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
That's so interesting just because how much time do we think people spend thinking of an idea and then thinking of the holes in the idea and then trying to come up with another idea?
Yeah.
And then
It's
they end up
one
spending
thing-
Well, dude,
months without an actual decision being
Yeah,
made.
it's
see
one
what-
thing to test an idea for the holes in it, right? Like I'm sure you guys do that here. Like when you guys, what do you guys call that? When you test a deal if it's going to work,
Stress
test. That's one thing. But when you're too busy thinking about what criticism you're going to get or what somebody's going to think, that's not going to help anything. You know what I mean? It's got to work strategically from a business side. For sure, you got to poke holes in it for it to work. But from a judgmental side, sorry, don't got time for that. Let's just keep it moving.
Okay, so for everybody listening that doesn't know Paul, his brand is Primitive. It is sick. Go support it. For you, because you don't come from the skate industry, right? The skate industry has a core market that is probably unlike any other industry, I would guess. Like even in snow or surf, the core in skate is just built different, right? And so what happens to us is it's not just like okay, I want to do this, but like, where are the holes or, maybe the reference Paul made when we're looking at like an apartment building or a storage unit. We're trying to look for like things that, may come up that we're not expecting that might hurt the deal, right?
Yeah.
But
But as long as the math works, there's no other
the math
issue,
works, the
you know what I
math
mean? Yeah.
works, right?
Your thing is public perception.
Maybe you could argue that, the crossover would be for us, like, maybe we think about political risk or we think about what type of feedback you get in a community would maybe be the reference. But the skate industry, like the core market, it feels like it just hates to hate. Like anything you do that is like to grow or
Well,
succeed.
it just feels like nobody's happy for somebody when they do well. Nobody's happy for it. Like nobody wants you to do well. Even certain skate shops will get upset with you because you're selling over here, but they're like, "What about us?" and all that. But it's like, bro, you'll just as quickly turn on us, even if we just sold to you or went over here. You'll just as quickly turn on us when this brand comes up and it sells better and order less from us. Nobody seems to really care about each other. They just, I don't know. I don't spend any time on that.
Yeah, because I want to talk
process.
to you about that because I made a video not that long ago talking about when you left S for Nike and Girl for Plan B, and how you were thinking the way you are right now back then. And I wasn't actually. Like, it took me a second to get past this. Like, don't focus on, this group, focus on, the bigger picture. Why have you, you've always thought that even since we were young? Like, tell me about that. Because those are big decisions, bro. Like, when you left S, like, I called you, I'm like, bro, you're tripping. Like, how are you doing this? This is the best shoe company out.
Yeah,
And then
and
Girl
it was
like
at the
the
time.
same way,
Well, that's never what I fell in love with. I fell in love with riding my skateboard. I fell in love with doing cool tricks. I fell in love with like the style of like how a dude did a trick, how graceful it looks. I fell in love with like hanging out, meeting new friends, and hopping in the cars and going out skating spots. Like I never fell in love with the industry aspect of it. I just fell in love with the act of doing it. So that's a separate thing. That's not even a thing to me. So I never bought into that. I just follow my heart.
Right, but that's true. But you also have actually a pretty strong business mind. Like, you've always had that since you were young. So what about the idea of like you're picking sponsors, right? Sponsors are offering you money. I know you were also thinking about the impact to your brand. Like, what made you end up making those decisions back then? Like, what was the catalyst to it?
I'll be honest, dude, it was just a lot of naiveness and instinct. Just going off instinct. It was never really like a real analytical, strategic. It just had to feel good. And I had to feel like I felt okay about it. Like at the end of the day, if I'm not hurting nobody, I'm not cheating nobody, I'm not stealing from nobody, it's my life. I can make a decision on what I want to do with it. And if this opportunity comes to me based off of the skills that I've developed, I could do what I wish with these opportunities. If somebody doesn't like it, that's okay. I don't need anybody to like it. If you get in a position like me and you have your skills and you're offered, do what you wish with it. No judgment. Live your life. You know what I mean? Like, the way I looked at it is like Michael Jordan, being sponsored by Gatorade or McDonald's. I didn't give a shit. No one gives a shit. We all love Michael Jordan. He went out there and he played and he made your jaw drop every time he played. Why does him making business decisions for his personal self have anything to do with what he did on the court and how he carried himself and how he made you feel? He made you feel like you wanted to be the greatest. Even if you didn't play basketball, you wanted to be the greatest at whatever you do. Same thing with Kobe, same anybody. Like, in like people... Most of the haters are in the industry. The actual skate fans is probably not as much haters. You have your pockets of them, but like, if you enjoy watching me skate or watching my video parts or enjoy what I do on the board, I appreciate it. If you don't agree with what I did for my sponsors or for business, for my personal life, that's okay too. But like, I don't see why one has to affect the other. You know what I mean? But there are times, when I've done questionable ads or certain things that are a little that I look back at. I'm like, yo, that's a little goofy.
What's
for
the most
sure.
questionable one? What's the one that comes to your mind when you say that?
I still get shit for it today, and it's pretty funny. But over when I was hurt in 2018, like I got a McDonald's campaign for the McRib. To do one pose, they paid me 15 racks to sit on my couch with a broken knee and eat a McRib and be like, yo, the McRib's back. I look back, I was like, it was a little silly.
Okay, I saw Cole did that too.
I was a little silly. Yeah, but dude, 15 racks from your phone to press send, like, that's pretty good if money.
Any other one?
Would you do it again today?
Maybe for 30.
There it is. Inflation.
I'm playing. I don't know. Probably not. At that time, I was in a different situation. I was like, in my mind, being hurt, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to skate again. I don't know if I'm going to have sponsors. I better try to collect any money I can and stack or whatever. Now I'm more confident in my position.
I mean, the key, it sounds like, it's like you don't want to ever live a life where you're just making decisions based on what other people are going to think about it.
No.
Right? Because
Yeah.
then you will never make a decision because there's no way to make everybody happy. That's just the reality.
Right.
Yeah,
it's absolutely right.
It's just like simple, dude. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not stealing from anyone. I'm not cheating from anyone. I'm only capitalizing off of opportunities, off of talent, off of God-given talent that I've put endless amount of time into developing, and I've developed it. It's my choice to do with it what I wish.
Yeah, but is the skate thing, is it one of those scenarios where it's like the fringe that are the loudest, but they
Right,
don't
but are
actually
the
represent the
minority.
majority?
Well, yeah. So yes. So like, he brought up like the message boards, right? Well, you see a lot of people on the message boards. It's people who wanted to be pro that didn't and still stuck around the industry. It's a lot of older people that just, in my perspective, didn't live out the career they wanted to live, right? So you have that part. Then you have like, there's a age that you go through. I don't know, what would you call it? Like 16, 17, 18, where you're starting to get pretty good. You've got maybe a shop sponsor, maybe like some flow. You're pretty core focused there. But like none of them buying anything. That's kind of the conundrum, right? It's like the core doesn't shop. They're not buying his product. Most of them get stuff for free. And so where you start struggling is you start making decisions for people that will never buy your product anyway. And so you're killing any type of brand potential or whatever you want to call it. It's so limiting, right? But I mean, look, you know this, you sell product. Like who's the main consumer? Like what's the main age group?
For primitive, I think it's like
It probably changes if it's clothes or boards, right?
12 to 26, 28.
12 to 26, I would guess that from a board standpoint, it's probably going to be 12 to 16. Like that's going to probably be like the hyper
From the actual, like, yeah.
skateboards, right?
Yeah.
You guys sell, I mean, you're in like kind of, what would you say, streetwear, kind of, would that be the category?
I guess so,
Which
yeah.
should tap into like a little bit of a little older market. But yeah, it could ruin your career
Did I
only
see
focusing on
Will
that.
just roll out some Tupac boards?
Yeah.
I look good.
Yeah, thank you.
I look
What's
good.
the new thing?
That took me back to my high school days, man.
Yeah, see, we touched the nostalgia too, so there's the older crowd.
So when you talk about like not wanting to like make decisions based on criticism, like how far out of the lines are you drawing? Like how much will you test the boundaries? Are you guys like tapping into like live streamers and gamers, or like how much are you going?
Well, I can't speak for primitive. I mean, I'm not the only one who can speak for primitive. I'm not the day-to-day operator. I still mainly just am the face and consider myself. I look at myself as basically being sponsored by primitive. I know I'm the owner, but I have partners who also have ownership and that they run it day to day. And like, that's a question for them what they do. But I ultimately.
Would you ever
say
stop
that,
them? Would you ever hear something and go, guys, this is too far?
If I felt like it was something morally
Right.
that I wasn't in agreement with, and like recently I realized like I need to be more in. A lot of times I don't see graphics or stuff that's coming out until it's out, until I get a box of it myself. So sometimes there's things I'm like, this is not really the message I want to send. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, I need to get in more early to catch certain things, but it's not that often. That there'll be things that I just like. I'm like, why? That's not. Why do we want to promote this?
Right.
Push this. It's not. We're all. My partners are older than me. All late 30s, early 40-year-old men. This is not the lifestyle we live.
Yeah.
This is not what we're about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, certain things, not everything. But so I don't speak on. I'm primitive on. When I'm talking, I'm speaking on my personal self.
Right.
How far the boundary? I don't think about it as pushing boundaries. I just go with what I like, what I'm into. And as I've gotten older, sure, there's going to be a certain market of younger kids who won't relate to what I'm into. I like cigars. I like Bentleys. I don't own one, but I like fly shit. I like opulent, mature shit. That's just the taste I've gotten into as I've matured. But I still like going out in the streets and filming. I still laugh at immature shit. I still joke around and talk shit with my friends. I'm still have that youthful side of me. So I don't know. I just be me,
So, I got a question for him. You can afford a Bentley. Why don't you buy one?
Because I have smart friends who have mentored me on not spending my money on liabilities, use my assets, the income from my assets to buy my liabilities.
There it
And
is.
I don't have as much income from my assets as I would like. so I'm not gonna cross that threshold just yet.
Well, yeah, but you'd argue that you're still in wealth build, right? Like you
what-
have a
yeah.
decision to make. It's either
saying.
appreciation or wealth build, or it's cash flow,
Exactly.
right? Or maybe a hybrid, but usually at our age, you're trying to double. It's like double my money, double my money, double my money.
Yeah,
Right.
I wouldn't mind the cash flow part to start kicking in a little stronger. I think I have enough investments that are wealth building right now that probably my next focus on stuff will be cash flowing, more cash flow focused investments.
So, you're talking about hanging out with the kids, and like, do they ever ask you about this stuff? They ever ask you about business or
No,
investing?
Not
or-
often. Only the dudes who are a little older. I would say like the dudes like Carlos Ribeiro. He's like 31, 32. He's interested in business. Him and I talk a little bit
Right.
like that. But for the most part, the other dudes are just like
Here to skate.
just want to say, and which is great. Which is what you should be focused on at the younger age. That's exactly what we were focused on those early ages. Just you got to keep it pure and keep it focused. You don't want too much shit on your mind when you're still trying to make it in skating.
Do you
Right.
get phone calls
Yeah.
from the young skaters?
Yeah. Well, no, not young. Like it's what Paul said. There's an
Once
age
you hit
in
30,
which they
something
start
goes
hitting
on.
me up. Yeah.
Once you hit
Yeah.
30 and you realize, like, shoot, I got to make something of my life, like financially, because anything before 30, actually anything probably before like 27, it's still very like, as long as I'm cool and fit in, to me, that's more valuable than setting myself up financially. Which isn't wrong. I mean, there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong to this shit. So like, I just live my life. I just do what I feel is right. I've always done that, and at this point, I just feel like as long as I'm myself, I can go to bed at night. As long as I'm not hurting nobody, stealing from nobody, cheating nobody, none of those type of things, I'm fine with what the decisions I'm making. I have thick skin. I could deal with getting made fun of. I could deal with criticism, but fortunately, thank God, for whatever reason, still to this point, I see a lot more love than I see hate. So
Yeah, I think it's because of that
I'm
statement
okay
you
with
just
that.
made. Everybody loves you. The age thing is probably the youngest call I've got from a skater, like trying to figure this out, was 24. That was young. Usually it's exactly that. It's like a skater starts getting towards the end of the career. You start worrying about, like, is this the last contract? And then they're like, what do I do?
Yeah, but did you even think about it until after you lost your sponsors and started St. Archer?
Well, no, losing my sponsors came after St. Archer. For me, it was really, it was my parents. Like,
Yeah, you were
when I told
lucky
my
with
parents
that
I
one.
wasn't going to college, the ceiling blew off. Like, they were so frightened by that. And in that, like, there was so much pressure on me, like, you're blowing it. Like, they did not want me to go down the skater path because they didn't want me to not go to college. And when I basically was like, look, this is what I'm going to do, they were really adamant on me getting financial help. Like, this is the only way we'll feel comfortable with this. And so I started getting help when I was 19.
with
And so-
Randy and them, right?
Yeah.
That's
And so,
awesome.
look, was I super into investing the way I am today? No. Did I understand the importance of it? I don't know if I understood the importance of it at 19, but I did feel like I was taking a huge risk that I was jeopardizing my future by not going to college. And that fear element, I think, put me in a position of, like, with Randy, what do I need to do? I will listen. Like, is this how much you want me to spend? I'll listen. You want me to put this into retirements? I'll listen. You want me to put this in the real estate? I'll listen. And so my whole thing was just tell me and I will execute. And then as I started getting older, I started getting really into it. But I can't tell you I was, like, hyped up. It was just my parents were like, you got to do this. I was like, okay, And then it's like, I guess the tough part I have is I'm totally with you. Like, when you're young, like, you're just skating, right? But I've also seen the benefits of what happens when you do start young, right? Like, thinking about, like,
What, the
getting to the
compounding
end of,
and all that.
bro, it's crazy. It's like, even if you're just picking off these, like, let's just use a 15% return each year, right? 15% IR, you're doubling your money every 5. So it's like, okay, double. Then it's just like, okay, if I started at 18, now 30, I'm in a pretty decent spot.
Think of the example of the penny per day for a month?
A month, yeah.
Versus the $10 million
Penny to
up
doubles
front. Which
every
one do
day.
you take?
Yeah, no, 100%.
That compounding thing is legit.
It's legit. And I think what I didn't totally understand when I was young is the difference between making money and building wealth, right? Really, at the end of the day, I was focused on making money. Like
Yeah.
income was the thing that I
Yeah.
was feeling.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, how do I make more money? How do I make
Yeah.
more money? But they're not the same.
No.
They're not even
No,
close to the
no.
same. And so thankfully, I had somebody that was like just forcing me, like, okay, you're going to put your money into here. This is going to be the wealth build. Wasn't seeing it, wasn't feeling it. But when I retire, I absolutely felt it.
That's so
You
interesting.
know?
I have this conversation almost every day with somebody now, where their whole mindset is, what will the investment generate for me today? And the conversation ultimately goes to like, what is it exactly that you need the money today for? And they don't, right? They're young, they're working, they don't need the money today. They just have this misconception that earning money on an investment today is how I build wealth. And the reality is there are investments where you're not going to see anything for a while. And that's the thing that gets you financially fully independent.
That's right. You got
Yeah.
2 times you get paid
Yeah.
on the front end or the back end. That's how it is, right?
I'm trying to do both.
Yeah, that's look. That
There is
happens.
that point of inflection
Yeah.
though at your age where it's like you start moving from the long-term wealth build to I want to start getting cash flow, and then ultimately it's almost all cash flow and no appreciation. But
Yeah.
when you're young, delaying the gratification can have a monumental impact later
100%.
down in life.
Right.
I
And you
wish
know
I
what too?
understood
Like I
that a
get,
lot younger as well.
I totally get why you want cash flow now, right? Like towards the end of my career, internally, I started feeling that as well. Like when my sponsors go away, like where's the income coming from, right? What happened to me, and I'm expecting that to happen to you actually, when you ultimately make the decision to go into the next thing, and then you start making money doing that, you get past this fear of like, dude, when skating ends, the income ends, right?
Well, that's not my fear. It's not my fear. I do believe I'll be able to earn income for a long time coming. If I'm just being blatantly honest, I want to ball now too. I want to ball later then. I want to ball later too. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to only ball when I'm in my 60s. I want to ball out, man.
Right.
Straight up. I mean, really,
Right.
without having to think about it, without having to be on a budget. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But I don't. That urge isn't so strong that I'm willing to sacrifice later for now.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're trying to find the right balance
I
for it.
restrainedly ball now. But I mean, if I'm just being plain honest, I want to ball till I fall.
Look, I see him ball, and I saw him at the UFC fight. I see the guy; he's living well.
Well, that was
That's
that
good.
was free. That was comp.
That's even better.
Yeah,
That's even better.
that was comped. I didn't.
How much does the Bentley weigh? It's a Bentley.
Are you looking
well,
for a 6,000-pound deduction?
for sure.
just
the
listening to
the
him
Cullinan
talk.
for sure. The
Like,
Cullinan's for sure.
That's the
tax.
SUV one.
Yeah.
Just
I'm
listening
sure
to him
one of the
talk,
big
like I don't
Bentleys
know
is
if
that.
you need to wait to ball in some regard, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's just throw this thing out. How much is the car? 300.
I know the path.
The
he's
one that
going
I
down.
want,
You
the
know that one, yeah.
the
This is
newest,
not a productive path.
the
This
newest
could be.
flying
Hang on,
spur,
this
the
could be.
newest flying
How
spur.
much?
I don't. Maybe 250, 300. Yeah.
300 grand, right? Okay. If it weighs over 6,000 pounds, right?
Big
How much
tax
can you
write-off.
accelerate the depreciation right now? 80%?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you put, I don't know, what would you put down? Something like that, 60 G's?
I don't know.
Put 60 G's down. You finance the 220, right? What would you say it was? 280, 250?
It's like 250, 300.
Finance the remainder, right? You depreciate the 80%. So now you're deducting what? 230 G's of taxes this year, right? So you're going to spend 60 out of your pocket, wipe out almost 2 and change of taxes. Why not do that?
See, this is the path I didn't want him to go down.
I like
here.
this. I like
This
this.
is the problem. He's gonna go down to a guard down the street right now.
No.
Yeah, but
Don't do it.
but this
Fight the-
one,
fight the urge.
You know
I'm
what? But
gonna
some
do
of
it
these
soon,
ones,
but
like,
not
look,
yet.
Buy
if
the
you're-
toys on the cash flow.
I'm gonna do it soon, but not
Okay,
yet.
but let's test this,
No,
right?
this is not good advice.
Just buying stuff so it can act as a deduction. I'm with you on that. But if you can put some in and then use the debt to then accelerate the depreciation to bring his tax. Why wouldn't you do that?
Well, it depends on what his tax situation
Let's
is.
say he's got to pay 500 G's in taxes this year. You're paying it no matter what. Why not accelerate the depreciation?
Is it a dollar for dollar deduction?
No, because he's going to use debt. Oh, yes.
Is it?
Yeah, 80%. Whoosh. You're accelerating depreciation. Same thing works in real estate.
I love this talk, but I literally don't understand it. Like you guys are talking.
Mikey
might as well
doesn't
be
like
speak-
it.
I don't like
Mikey either doesn't like it because he's scared of what our compliance officer is going to say, or he just doesn't like it.
I think
Maybe
he
he-
could do, I
maybe
think
he
I
doesn't
think
like
he could do
Bentleys.
more. I think he could do more with his 300 G's
That's fair.
right now and capture a tax deduction.
But it's not
that he-
300.
that
It's
he-
60.
That he can buy even 60 G's.
Okay.
That he can buy, a Bentley, a G wagon, and
Let
a
me ask-
freaking McLaren.
Let me ask you this.
I want to see the kid with multiple cars.
I
in
do
his
too,
driveway.
but we're having fun right now. What if P-Rod's like, yo, Mikey, I spend 60 G's a year and just stuff. I'm just not going to buy the stuff. I'm going to do the car.
That's a different argument.
I like that.
I better start looking for the stuff that I can do without. I like this. Yeah, in this one, I'm not going to do
You know
it
what I'm
just
saying?
yet. I'm,
I mean, he's your 1099 income, right?
I think I think so. I'm guessing, right?
From your sponsors, your
Independent
1099. You might be
contractor.
W2 from Primitive.
Yeah, that's where I get lost with the K2s and the W
K1s, yeah.
2s. And
Then he's just, he's playing the game.
I'm like, yeah, the numbers
might be able to
and the
convince this
letters.
guy to get a jet.
I get confused about this. I'm liking this. My point is, I want to ball now and consecutively all throughout life.
Okay, so then this is maybe the pitch. If he wants to ball now, that may be the best strategy to use.
It sounds like a good strategy for his 40th birthday.
Maybe. I'm gonna.
What are we doing for your 40th?
I don't know. I'm not thinking that far, man. One day at a time, baby. We
Are you
here.
New Year's Eve?
Yeah,
Yeah,
You and I are 10 days apart.
that's my man.
I love that. Hey, you ever think about the board strategy that Barra put you on, the original board launch? Tell everybody about that. 'Cause I actually thought that was a really interesting idea.
It
and
is
you
a really
tested
interesting-
it.
and it worked.
Okay. Tell everybody what that was.
The original board idea, Steve Barra and I were having a conversation maybe 10, 11 years ago at this point about how come a pro couldn't just print up their own boards, sell it on their website, and then capture the most of the profit of it instead of just getting a royalty. And we came up with the idea, or he came up with the idea, that you could just spend the money out of pocket, pay a graphic artist to get, make you a graphic, whatever that costs, a couple $100, $500, whatever, graphic that you like, put your name on it, put it up on your website, put a couple videos out to market it, and if you felt like you had a strong enough following, you print up 500, 1,000 boards, whatever it is, and sell them on your website, and you could potentially, I think it was like $25,000 gross on 500 boards.
You did. You launched it with 500 boards.
Yeah, I think it was like 25,000 gross.
How fast?
Profit. Instant. It was instant.
5 minutes, 25
2
grand.
minutes. It was instant.
Well, with his following, that makes sense.
It was instant.
And just for context, how much does a pro make per board? $2? $2 a board?
These days, maybe not even. These days, a lot of guys right now are just on a flat salary.
Okay, if
If-
that's the
if
case,
that.
pros are on a flat salary because they can't even sell enough boards to even break their minimum. Is why that's the case.
Yeah, yeah. So.
And what are we talking? $1,000 a month? $2,000
Depends
a
on the
month?
brand. Sometimes not even that.
500 bucks a month?
500 to 1,000, depending on the person, depending on.
Okay, so if we're being generous,
they're
making $1,000 a month. Okay, it's 12 grand for the year, right? You're never breaking your minimum. 25 grand in 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, and then imagine.
And
you
then what
did
was
that
what's the net?
every other month?
Okay,
did
but
that.
you had to buy, you had to put money in. So what was the
It
net?
was
Do you
like
remember?
$6,000.
Netted 6 grand.
No, it was like $6,000 I paid.
Oh, so you netted almost 20 grand, 19 grand.
to get the boards made. Yeah, and I mean I split the money with Heath.
Right.
So depending on if you how little people you have to break bread with, it was a nice experiment, and in
But you
theory
did-
it worked.
But you
Why did you
decided
do it
not to
more?
do it. That's a good question.
Well, in theory it worked, right? And I did consider just doing it, and every month or two put out a different graphic and do the same thing. But I had this brand, which was a sneaker shop, and we made T-shirts and clothes that I couldn't really do much with at the time as far as promoting. So I was like, why don't I just turn my brand into a skateboarding brand so I can really get behind it and push the brand. So I decided the bigger picture would be to have a company, but it's yet to show if that was the right decision or not.
Build wealth or get income.
Yeah. He chose to build wealth.
He chose to build wealth.
Yeah, but it's yet to prove that it's going to pay off.
Well, when you're building business depending on what the business is, the big payday is when you sell it.
Right. I mean, yeah. Of
So
course.
everything. I mean, even with our business, we're making money, but if you're talking about like the payday, it's an exit. I mean, same with St. Archer. We didn't make $1 in St. Archer till we sold.
100%. I'm just saying, dude. It's
it's
yet
still
to prove
to
that
be
it could
determined.
even get to that point. If it'll get to that, I don't know. I don't even know. But I think I was fortunate. It's really. I don't think that's the code that's gonna crack it for every pro. That's the only thing.
Right.
It's really hard out here, man. And I just thank God I'm like cutting all the bullshit out. People just your favorite pro skateboarders are not making money. Like, not making legitimate money. Like, the employees at the company are making more than the skater, especially the skateboard brand. Like, the team manager is making more than the pro is making, so
That's when you grew up, or that's today?
that's today currently. Probably when we were growing up too. But it's just a really tough industry, man. Some people have a misconception that like, yo, these brands are greedy. These guys are greedy. No, bro. They're just trying to keep their business open, alive. They're trying to keep the doors open. They're trying to keep the lights on, the bills paid. Like, it's especially right now in this climate. Nobody is just fucking making money hand over fist and just Scrooge McDucking everybody and just cutting everybody out. It's just not. It's not real. I lost my train of thought, but that formula, it might have worked for me. I don't know how long it would have worked. Would it still be working today? I don't know. Would I have been able to earn some quick, fast cash for a good little while, a year or two there? Probably. But I think also because it was the first time it was ever done, it was limited only to 500 boards. They were all signed and numbered. I said once these are released, they're never released again. Like, it was just boom. So would it have happened every time? Would it have lost its specialness every time? Maybe. And then if every pro started doing it and it got more competitive,
Yeah.
would it have been as lucrative? I don't know. I don't know. In theory, it works. It's like being an independent artist or something. But will it work for everyone? Probably not. Some people need that machine behind them of a company to push them, promote them.
Right. Well, I think for you, like owning the business, I feel like I would make a pretty strong argument to say you're now benefiting not just off your ability. It's the whole team now, right? Like,
He's leveraged.
That
Yeah,
does
you're
help.
leveraged
Like
now.
if I wanted to retire, there's a team, but I will say like it's yet to
Yeah, I
show
feel
that
you.
I'm benefiting.
I feel you.
Not to say that I mean those guys are a huge benefit. They're a reason why the brand has got so much respect, especially in skateboarding. But I'm Primitive is still. We ain't out the woods, bro. Like we're grinding, just trying to fucking keep everything operating smooth,
Right. So if you're like, do all the kids, right, Niels, and if they don't ask you about money, they don't ask you about investing. Do they ask you about just like sponsorships and like more like management or agent questions? Like, how do I negotiate this deal?
Sometimes, but I'll be honest, bro, dude. I don't like the advice that I give.
No, why?
I don't like my advice, cause sometimes I feel like I just fell ass backwards into my situation. I know if we go back and I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I remember that. Like, but if I look back on my career as a whole, it's kind of a blur, and I don't necessarily remember every situation how it turned out. And like, I don't know that I have good advice, and I don't know if my advice from my experience will apply to the times we're in today.
Right.
Because
The
we
little I know
were
you,
we were
though.
in a golden era. And now with social media and like the way the budgets are split up through influencers and this and that, like we were back before social media was the main way of marketing, bro. Like, these companies were putting their budgets into one, maybe two guys, and really cutting them deals. Like, those are far and few between now.
Right.
So, look, I heard everything you said, but 100% I disagree with you on it. And I'll tell you why. You had the ability to go kind of your own solopreneur route with your boards. You decided to go down the route of primitive. And you did so because you understood that you could leverage people to create something bigger than what you could do on your own. You are 39 now, and you're still competing with kids in their 20s, which means you understood how to leverage technology or tools that can help keep your body young and healthy. I mean, I know you have the cryo chamber and the cold plunge, and you work out like a freaking maniac. So you leverage, tools and resources right like that to keep your body in a position where you can compete with the youth. You are leveraging people like financial advisors and real estate professionals to build an investment strategy. You understand the one variable that so many people fail to, which is that through leverage, you can create something monumentally more successful than if you were to do things on their own. And that's the kind of advice that I think a lot of these people are trying to get out of you.
Okay, I feel you. I agree with that, and thank you. And see, you have the good ability to take that and put it into a concise little package
well.
and give. See, that's why I don't like my advice, because I would be trying to say that, but I'd be confusing them way more by like trying to say it like, well, well, do this and that, like, and then at the end of the day they'll be like, yeah, I'm more confused now after talking to Paul than before.
But you know,
I'll be like, talk to Michael, he'll tell you why.
But you know why your advice is sometimes better than even somebody like mine that can package it up and concise it? Because sometimes people are trying to find the quick, easy answer to something, and they lose sight of trial and error, that you have to try something out, see how it plays out, and then maybe pivot your strategy and so on. So somebody who comes to, let's say somebody like me, who just wants the answer, a lot of times they're coming back over and over and over again because it's the shortcut that they're actually seeking. Whereas with you, the kind of advice you're giving them, it's like, this is what I did. I don't know if it's right, I don't know if it's wrong, but this is kind of what I did, and go out and give it a shot. And so there's a part of it that they have to kind of go and figure out for themselves too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like you could probably just go back and think about all of the decisions you made and almost create a blueprint, right? Without even knowing the why, just create the blueprint, and then you could go, dang, if I really go back, okay, I was young, I didn't care about the criticism. I was making these decisions from the jump. That right there is a freaking gem, right? I wish I would have picked that up earlier. Being around you 24/7, it took me a while to get there, right? That's a big one. You started investing in brands, right? How many businesses do you own now? A lot, right? So it's like you also knew that having sponsorships had a clock, or there was only a window of time where that was going to last. Then they were going away. So I might as well participate in these things that are going to live longer than me. That is massive, right? The health thing, the branding thing. I mean, even the practice you've done on not theater, but
Acting.
That is just like the icing on the cake, right? To have like a pro athlete that knows how to communicate, you can stick him in front of an audience and talk, like that's massive. So what happens is he does this to me too, right? He'll be really humble, and I think he believes it. It's not even a show, which is another reason why we love it, but it drives me nuts because it's like, bro, you've got something that is most people don't have, and you had it at a very young age.
But you know what, man? Sometimes that humility is the path to success for some people.
Yeah,
and
you can't. That's
you know what? I just had a little epiphany while you were talking, and you were saying like the advice is better from someone like me than when people keep coming back to you. I had an epiphany, like skaters, specifically skaters. The formula is in your face. You do it every day. How do you learn a trick? You fucking try it over and over and over. Oh, didn't work this way. Didn't work that way. Oh, got close. I think I should try this way a little more. Oh, getting closer. Oh, that's not working. Oh, go this. Oh, put a little whack. Oh, I landed it finally. That's life. That's investing. That's being successful. Try the shit over and over again with the intention of that goal you have in your mind clear, and just keep fucking trying it. and you're gonna get better at trying, and you're gonna make some bad attempts, but you're gonna learn from that. Okay, that's a bad attempt. Try it this way. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm making headway. And then eventually, if you stick with it long enough, you try hard enough, you try long enough, you keep coming back for the battle, you're gonna fucking win.
It's okay.
That's it.
So-
that's literally it.
So look, I knew nothing about skating until I met him. I didn't know who he was when I met him. I didn't know who you were when I met you. And when I really saw the skater mentality come in was probably 7 or 8 months ago.
You're gonna give him the curse part of it.
This fool, after we built this new office, studioed out his space, right? There was a period of 4 weeks. He went to Best Buy every day. He went to Sammy's almost twice a week. He drove out to the city just to get all the things he needed to get, and he repeated the process over and over again. And I was like, "What are you doing? You're wasting so much time." He looked at me. He's like, "This is the skater curse. You obsess about something, and you cannot let it go." And he was so obsessive. One day, Jen walked in. One day, his wife walks in, and she's like, "Where is he?" I'm like, "He went to Best Buy." She's like, and I looked at her. I was like, "Is this a normal thing?" She's like, "Yeah, this is the skating thing. This is his curse that you don't see it as much now, but this is 100% a skater's mentality where they fixate on something and they cannot let it go."
Yeah.
And it ends up being the biggest blessing as well.
Yeah, so
yeah.
he nailed the question I get whenever I'm doing interviews and stuff is like, is there something you learned from skateboarding that you use today? What you just articulated is it, right? That's life. The skate brain, the obsessive kind of part of it, it's a gift and a curse. Like if I get obsessed on something that is going to be very productive, we're going to win. If I get obsessed over something that's just wasting time, like having to go to Best Buy 4 million times because the cameras aren't working, yeah, kind of a distraction. But
Yeah,
it's
but
like
is it? Because it's still something that's gonna win. Content's king.
where he's gonna make an argument that I don't have a. If I was disagreeing with him, it would just be because I want to. Is when you start looking at value of time, right? It is not the best use of my time to be driving to Best Buy 4 times a day to get this thing set up.
Yeah,
right?
you don't have somebody that can.
I should be
with that.
I should be sending somebody, or I should be waiting. It's the waiting part, right? Oh, we're going
that's
to
why I
order
wait
it,
2 days on
and this is
Amazon.
going to come in 2 days, right?
Oh, I
the
hate that.
curse.
No, if I know it's in the store right now, let's go.
That's the curse. I can't. This has to be done now, and
That's
I'm
a better
getting
use of
it
time
done.
than waiting.
You know?
Well, so this bulldozing skate mentality. After I watched him go through that, I sat back and I told myself, how can I leverage this for the benefit of the business?
Yeah.
And so now I drop little seeds of ideas in his mind. And I get him to the point where he's like, it develops into an obsessiveness, and now he just bulldozes.
Yeah, so it can
everywhere.
be insanely when used right, it's powerful,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
like
yeah,
if
yeah,
he's
yeah.
if he
Directed.
sticks me on, or I walk in just hell bent on something, we're doing it. I will drive everyone until it happens, right? That's a good side of the obsession, but there's a curse to it, man. Jen feels it more than anybody. Jen,
Sure. Yeah,
poor
that,
Jen,
that,
man.
that is, but
Poor
like
Jen.
that's with everything, man. Everybody's gift has a curse side to it. I would argue, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't trade that for anything.
I think in today's society, the get shit done mentality is what's going to make the next generation of children be actually significant and successful as
I
they
sure
become
as hell
adults,
hope
because
so,
there is a culture
weird
of
right now.
taking the easier way out or doing less to try to achieve the same kind of result. And the ones that are grinding, that are growing up with this mentality, I think they're going to be the ones that 20 years from now are going to be the wealthy ones.
Yeah,
I
you just
hope
run.
so.
I do too.
I hope so.
I mean, that's what I'm teaching. That's what we're teaching our kids. You know, it's like, look, I get it. Like, I get how exhausting it can be to just be like pedal to the metal, right? But our culture has freaking ramped that up. They've turned the dial on you deserve everything now, and you know, take a break, and life is good, and enjoy it, and you don't need to do anything, and everything's given to you. That's going to have an impact on an age demographic. And you want to stand out. I mean, you know, think about this one from an employee standpoint, right? How hard is it? You know this one too from Primitive. How hard has it been to find good employees over the last 4 years? It's been insane, right? It's been so hard. What happens when you find a good one? Do you want to let them
can't
go?
let 'em
You
go.
hold
Nope.
on to them with everything you have.
Yep, exactly. There's going to be a moment where when you see people that are like, I'm I'm here for it. We're going to get this done. You won't let them go. You'll give them anything to stay with you. So I agree with you there. Paul, do you have a theme for this year? Do you do themes?
No, you know what? I realized I didn't do a New Year's resolution. I started my lock-in mode that I'm in on right now a couple months before the new year. I'm not even trying to think of time. I'm just one day, every day, lock in today, lock in tomorrow. I'm trying to think of it as like how a recovering drug or alcohol addict would think about it. Is like they don't think about sobriety years down the line. Just like one day at a time. I'm sober today. I'm sober. To me, I'm just gonna be like, you know what? I'm locked in today. I'm gonna lock in as best I can to do today towards my goals, and hopefully that will bring me the momentum to be even more motivated tomorrow to lock in. But I can't think of tomorrow. Right now, I'm locked in today. You stack enough todays, then you got something good happening. Enough locked in todays, then I think you're gonna get to where you want to go.
You should read the book called The Compound Effect.
Yeah, it's a good book.
That's a good book. And that's exactly what you just said.
This is gonna be a good
Get
year
it
for
on
you, Paul.
Amazon right now. I feel the energy. I'll be honest, personally and stuff. I've had a rough last few years. I feel like it's finally. I got my head out of my ass, and I'm going in.
Doug, you're number one on the podcast. I appreciate you. You know I love you to death. Thank you. And now we're gonna go play some golf.
Let's go.
All right, big dog, let's go.
Are we getting a hole in one today?
I'll tell that story on the course.